Tom Hanks is a legend of the screen, having starred in countless bangers for the last 40 years, with 6 Oscar nominations and 2 back-to-back wins in the 90s. But what I'm interested in today is his first nomination for a little film back in 1988 called Big. For those who don't know, the film sees a 12-year-old kid named Josh make a wish at a carnival to be big, and wakes up the next day 30 years old and lost in the adult world. But how did this wacky concept become a box office smash and manage to get Hanks a nod at the most prestigious award ceremony? The answer? Ingenuity. Yes, Big has a weird premise that gets stranger the more you think about it.
Well, I mean, I like you and I want to spend the night with you.
Do you mean sleep over?
But in my opinion, its director Penny Marshall toes the line between good weird and bad weird brilliantly, pulling off a coming-of-age story better than anyone could have expected. Now, the film itself wasn't the most original concept, as 4 other age-change comedies had come out around the same time as Big. But what the cast and crew were able to cook up really set a high standard of how far you could run with the idea. The film speaks for itself in how well it flows from scene to scene, as it's held up by a combination of great writing and even better performances from an extremely likeable cast. In doing some research, I found out that Steven Spielberg nearly directed the film with Harrison Ford as the adult Josh. However, Spielberg went on to make Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade instead, which is pretty fair. The other big name attached to the project was Robert De Niro, who was also considered for the role of Josh Baskin, but pulled out due to a pay dispute. In the end, it was a young Tom Hanks with a couple of films under his belt that landed the role, and then 9 months after its release became Oscar nominated for his performance. But it wasn't solely down to Hanks' sheer star power. In reality, he worked meticulously with the director to a point where his performance had the perfect blend of comedy and accuracy. Fun fact, during the shooting process, the director shot every scene once with the young Josh, played by David Moscow, and then again with adult Josh, played by Tom Hanks, mimicking his mannerisms as well as his energy and attitude. This creative decision formed a tangible connection between the two actors, as Hanks got on the same wavelength as Moscow, making for an incredibly convincing performance grounded in reality. For example, let's look at a little scene early on in the film. Josh is knelt down on his chair playing a video game on his computer. He's keen to beat the level, and like a lot of kids, can't sit still, so kneels on the chair. Flash forward to when Josh is made big, and subsequently gets a job in data processing at Macmillan Toys, and instead of sitting down like any normal adult, decides to kneel down again, in a more awkward, childish way. It's this attention to detail that helps bridge the gap for the audience, making the fantasy feel more believable, and therefore makes the comedy even funnier. Big is full of these kind of moments that, because of the preparation Tom Hanks had, makes for a sillier, funner time. It's this reliance on improvisation that makes Big feel fresh and light on its feet, as opposed to a much darker tone which it could have gone down. And now my standout scene of the film is the piano scene. Filmed in real-life New York toy shop FAO Schwartz, the scene sees Josh bump into his boss when playing with an assortment of toys. They then stumble across a giant piano, and from there play a duet of 2 songs using only their feet.
Neat.
Not only is this a magical scene that shows the fun side of these 2 characters, but I think it's also a very fitting encapsulation of the film and its ideas. You have 2 adults expressing their childish side in the middle of a toy shop and end up having a fun time. They don't care if they're being watched, they just do what makes them happy and embrace their childish side, making for a pure and honest good time. That's the lesson that Josh teaches his boss, but it's also the same one he teaches to his co-worker and love interest Susan, as they spend more time together. In both of these situations, Josh is rewarded for his candid behaviour, getting a promotion after the piano scene, and getting a girlfriend in Susan by being himself, however problematic that idea may be. It's this playfulness that Hanks and the rest of the cast have with the characters and story that makes it feel different from other films, and stands out as a really good time. But yeah, in my opinion, Big is now one of the seminal coming-of-age films and a modern classic of the family movie genre, and I think you should all go watch it and see what you think. Thanks for watching. I've been Never Hold Back, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.